Hi, very warm welcome. Good evening, it's June from Avstar. Well, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is a tariff on China at 245%. And if you're an American and you find this alarming, or you find it amusing and something to laugh at, I'm just going to spell out a few things. Firstly, it seems clear to me that Donald Trump wants a full-blown war with China. 100% war with China. And I think he's going to get it. And this is how I think it's going to start. The last round of negotiations, I think, takes place in Rome, but with Iran. It will take place Saturday, but nothing good will come out of that. And probably around Tuesday night next week or Wednesday night, the B-2 Spirits will go into action over Iran, as well as a lot of other fighter jets backing them up. You'll have the whole lot. And Iran's going to retaliate against America. And then, whilst that is happening, China is going to invade Taiwan. And then whilst that's happening, America is going to go to the aid of Taiwan and try and protect them. And that will bring America into the war with China. And I'll just say this, very foolish move by the president over there, because this takes him straight to the doorstep of a nuclear war. 100%. If that's what he wants, he's on the track, for it. That's what's going to happen. But meanwhile, American businesses are going out of business. People are, looking at their 401k, shrink. Because if you saw the stock markets today, you'll see what I'm talking about. Another 2.5% gone. That's another 1.5 trillion gone. In total, 10% now wiped off the face of the top 500 companies in the United States. That's must be teetering about, 7.5, 8 trillion. He's only been in office, just over 2 months. And he's already, or just over 3 months, and he's already caused this carnage. And I believe there's a lot worse to come. But meanwhile, everyone that voted for him is slowly realising now that they made a huge mistake. A huge mistake. Because all what he promised is just like what we have here in the UK. It's a manifesto that is not legally bound to be kept by, the successful party that wins. Okay for the billionaires of the world, because they've got endless amounts of money. They can weather the storm. But, ordinary folk that go to work every day, hard-working Americans, hard-working global citizens, let's just put it that way. If you think, Americans are worth more than the Chinese, and the Chinese are worth more than the English, and the English are worth more than the Americans, it doesn't matter. We're all the same at the end of the day. Everyone is a human being. And, what Donald Trump has done has just destroyed e-commerce globally. He is not a businessman. He is not the king of the deal. He is a muppet that should never have got his hands on the market. And the only thing I can think that what's going on in the White House is that I do believe there are economists giving him advice, but he's not taking it. He's doing things the way he wants to do it. And of course, that's why the 7.5, 8 trillion pounds wiped off the top 500 companies. It's ludicrous. And then what he's came out with in the last 24 hours. He doesn't mind putting the homegrown criminals who are, sovereign Americans on a plane and sending them to another country to spend the rest of the days in a prison. And you know what, let's face it, he has made mistakes. He has whipped up people off the street who are not gang members or whatever, and he has put them on a plane and deported them to, these jails. Maximum security prisons in other countries. He goes on with his tariffs, he goes off with his tariffs, he's all on with his tariffs, then it's all off, and then it's all on again, with the exception of mobile phones and computers. I'm sorry, but if Donald Trump had put a 245% tariff on me, do you think I would export anything else to America ever again? Because I wouldn't. Regardless, the Chinese do realise at some point that America is not the biggest market in the world. Europe is. Europe has 400 million citizens. America has probably 320. So it's not the biggest market in the world. So, maybe China should focus more on Europe than what it has done in the past. If America ain't going to play ball, then you've got to move on and find somewhere else to play ball. Well, let's have a little look at the S&P 500, just so you get a grip of what I'm talking about. And as you can see, it's performed very poorly today, and it'll probably be the case as well tomorrow. Another 2.4%. I equate that to be around about, just short of 1.5 trillion or something like that. Added to the 6.5 trillion he already lost, the top 500 companies in America. The uncertainty is caused by these tariffs, and this is how the market responds. When he comes out and says, I'm going to put 245% tariffs on China, the market tanks. But this is, Americans 401, this is their pension being flushed down the toilet here. So, it's a disaster, and it's going to get worse. And I told you guys over in the States and the rest of the world, you know what? The best thing for you guys to have done, if you lived in the city, you should have sold your house. I don't think you'll have the time now. You're welcome to try, but I don't think you've got the time now on your side. You should have sold your house and been more content with a more simpler life, in a rural area, growing some of your own food and vegetables, out the way of targeting ballistic missiles that could come at any moment now. I reckon America is walking into a trap. I really do. It's crazy what's going on in the world. So, like I said, I don't see any success coming from these talks Saturday with Iran. And when that information gets back to Trump, they won't do it on the night. That'd be too obvious. Iran, by the way, are ready. They are ready. They've been preparing. They know what's coming because they know they're not going to go negotiate with America. These indirect talks are ridiculous, with, a guy being told one thing by the Iran officials, running back to the next hotel room, telling the US officials. The US tell the guy something else. He runs back into the other room, tells the Iranian officials, and this goes on. Those are called indirect negotiations. They're going to fail Saturday. With Iran's attitude and the United States bullying attitude, that these talks are going to fail. So, like I say, I don't think that the Spirit 2 B-2 bombers will be in the air Saturday evening, but I do believe around Tuesday, Wednesday, when Iran thinks, the dust has settled, it will be, Armageddon for them. But they've been preparing, this is the thing, they have been preparing for a war with the United States for decades. Their war game has always been to fight America. So, I believe America is underestimating their capabilities. But we'll see. Crazy time to be in the world and see what's going on. You know, a lot of it is easily predictable. You just have to be able to have the talent to see the wood through the trees. That's it. It's not an amazing skill. It's not hard to get your head round and make these predictions yourself. You can just see it coming, because it's that blatantly stupid these days that, you know, you can spot what's going on. You better start taking it serious, guys, out there, because the time has come. This is not going to go away without some serious repercussions, which could be life-changing for us all. Tomorrow, or the end of next week, might be completely the dawn of a new age for humanity. And I'm not speaking lightly. Now, if you think I'm a crankpot, you know, all well and good. I don't mind. I ain't got nothing to lose. There's a link down there if you want to help support what we do. I would definitely recommend becoming a patron at this point, if nothing else. And I'll say what I usually do. You take care of your loved ones. As always, bye for now.